Want to make a podcast? Spotify's got a platform that's going to let you make one super easily. And then you can distribute it everywhere and even earn money doing this. All in one place. And it's free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters. Here's how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and even edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and everywhere else podcasts are heard.
Ever since we discovered Spotify for Podcasters, it's been really great. Really get the people involved and ask questions and get ideas for new podcasts. So it's really helped us. And I highly recommend you give it a try. So download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started.
If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade in downtown Dallas.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
You don't know what you're talking about, do you?
Because people have got to know whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook. I've earned everything I've got. If you don't like what we tell you to believe in, we'll kill you.
All right, kids. Listen.
Don't
Podcast
listen to this.
if you're not of age.
What's of age?
This is 18 and up. Look, we're a bunch of dudes, and we're going to say some really bad words. And probably some things that might offend you. But
Don't listen to this.
can't wait till you listen.
Yeah, don't
If
do
you're
it.
18 and up.
Don't do it.
If you're 18 and
Yeah.
up.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Conspiracy Podcast.
What's up, guys?
Thanks for being with us again. I wanted to give a quick special shout out to Holly, who emailed us, and she was the one who suggested that we do Kurt Cobain. We then did a survey on our Spotify and got a shitload of votes, and they voted for Kurt Cobain too. So Holly, this one's for you.
There you go. So Kurt Cobain. Oof.
I know, what a legend.
This is more. I mean, I know we did Tupac and Biggie.
But this is
That's
more.
kind of like your guys' thing.
It's like me and Jorge in the fields.
Eric's all excited for Kurt Cobain. He's
Yeah,
like,
I had
yes.
tons of hair, and it was like grunge, bro. Like I had my flannels going.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So he was like your hero.
No, I was very Pearl Jam,
Okay.
Okay.
but very similar.
I mean, yeah.
You know,
I mean,
I also Seattle actually has a lot of grunge musicians that came out of it.
Yeah, that's
Soundgarden,
true.
yeah.
you
lot
know,
of 'em.
Nirvana, you know, stuff like that. So, anyways,
I mean, it ain't no Tupac. You know,
I mean,
but-
God, not even close.
but
I mean,
in
get me
your-
wrong. Nirvana's
but
dope.
he's your goat. He's your goat.
He's the go to the time.
Yeah.
But so in your upbringing, where was Nirvana?
Dude, I didn't start listening to that type of music until like college.
Really?
Yeah, I was almost.
He's a
I
young.
was al-
He's a young.
He's a
man.
baby.
He's a youngster
little
of us
babe.
three.
Well, according to Facebook,
if anybody's a 50-year-old, it's me here. Like,
no, but I was almost exclusively rap, and then I listened to Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I was like, oh shit,
There you go.
Like,
yeah.
there's other music other than trap music.
Kind of similar to him, but I mean, I think everybody knew about Nirvana and
Yeah.
the most
Yeah, they were huge.
That most famous song or whatever, and really took off, Teen Spirit or whatever.
Yeah, it
and
smells like Teen Spirit.
yeah. And I don't know but that's as far as for me, honestly,
Really?
as far as it went. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did dive a little bit more deeper into his music, but I was more hip hop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
And you, so
Same,
you
right?
were,
That's what I'm saying. We're like
you
twinsies.
were,
We're
you were
twinsies.
Ohio,
Yeah.
right? And you were in Texas.
Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Yeah,
and,
clearly.
And, you know, so it was very relevant, you know. And
it's still great. I'm not like not. I'm
Yeah,
not like knocking.
yeah.
I'm just saying from what
was
just
good.
what I was doing at the time,
Right.
and I respect that music. I love that music.
well, this is actually, and the further I go into it, he was pretty much a hero for Gen X.
Yeah.
This is Gen X time.
True.
You know, this is where you're 18 in 92.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's that time period. And, you know, him and Nirvana, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, even the Chili Peppers, you know, that sort of thing. That's
When I was
that
doing
time.
research for this, my wife was talking to her about it because she was a huge fan.
Yeah.
And so she was a little bit jealous that we're going to be doing this now. But man,
She had her chance.
yeah, that's right.
Oh, she voted.
She voted for
Yeah,
sure.
she voted twice.
Twice. She made up a whole nother profile just to vote.
She VPN'd.
Okay, Kurt
Busy
Cobain. Now, what's crazy about this is that, I don't know. I feel like we're going to be divided. This one's weird. This one's weird.
I mean,
Yeah.
technically, we're divided on like 90 fucking 2%
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
Except for people that we did have listeners who are like, hey, well, why do you guys all agree? And I was like, that was the one episode that we've all agreed. There's
true.
actually been 2 episodes that we all
You
agreed.
talking about flat Earth?
Oh, yeah. I'm like, listen to anything else. And it's like, I'm like, fuck you, Eric, you idiot. Shit.
Okay, Kurt Cobain. He was born Kurt Donald Cobain, February 20th, 1967, in a place called Aberdeen. And this is Aberdeen, Washington.
And I love that that's his actual name and it's not like a pen name
Oh,
or
yeah.
stage name.
Oh, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, very true.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah. So Aberdeen, Washington's about 3 hours from Seattle. Population 17,000 today.
Oh, so back then it was like
10?
2,000.
I mean,
like
9?
the Amish people
Yeah.
were like, it was like fucking.
Yeah, it's a very tiny fishing town, timber logging town.
Isn't like northern Washington, like Aberdeen?
Yeah,
Is it,
it's
like,
on the
further
coast,
north?
a little bit on the coast. So 3 hours basically west, of Seattle. Yeah.
Middle of nowhere.
Basically, yeah. And he talks about it too, that if you didn't get into logging,
You're an asshole.
then you were an
Exiled.
outsider.
Yeah.
You were an outsider because everybody was a logger. So he was born in 1967. He was born in Aberdeen's Harbor Community Hospital. He was the only son of Donald and Wendy Cobain. Don, his dad, worked as a Chevron gas station mechanic near their home.
Logger.
I know. That's why I was
I
waiting
know,
for it. I was
no,
like,
yeah.
fucking outcast.
In August of that year, they moved down the street to another place in Aberdeen. By age 2, he was really into the Beatles and the Monkees. And then he finally kind of picked up an acoustic guitar of his aunt's. And he wrote his first song at 3.
Jesus Christ. This is a fucking savant.
Yeah, and he...
My kid's into Baby Shark. Not enough the Beatles.
So then his uncle got him basically his first electric guitar and amp. And by the time he was 7, though, he was diagnosed as hyperactive. And by the time he was 7, he was prescribed Ritalin.
Really?
Wow, I didn't know that was going on in the 60s.
Yeah. It kind of seems
7,
like,
so early
70s, yeah.
Early mid 70s.
Yeah. So
I
in
don't know,
seven,
it just kind of seems more of like a
2000s kind of
yeah.
thing.
Yeah. But anyways,
so in 76, although we don't know how much he was taking it and at what point. You know what I mean?
I mean, obviously,
It's
we're not
just-
so he
it's
was
just
prescribed, but
Yeah, because it was also when they started, coining the term ADHD and that sort of thing. So
So let's give these kids speed. That's going to be the right play.
So in 1976, his parents divorced. He was heartbroken. And by that time, he had a sister who was born a few years later. The sister remained with the mom.
Oh, shit. So they were split.
Yes.
That sucks.
Yes. And then Kurt left to live with Dawn. And then Dawn remarried in 78. His new wife and his new kids moved in. And Kurt became... So Kurt even says, I was happy up until age 9.
Oh, and that's when he became an outsider again in his own house.
Yes. So he had a happy, great childhood. And then at age 9, they divorced. And then he moved into a new family's house.
Yeah, so he's almost like a foster kid.
Yes,
like in their
exactly.
house.
Yeah. So that's when he became unhappy. Music and art became his
escape.
Yeah, and his refuge and his. So he played drums in elementary, the junior high band. He drew. He was a painter, a poet.
Man, he did
was
everything.
doing a lot.
Shit. He was super
Very
artistic.
artistic.
All
yeah.
the things that I cannot do.
Yeah.
He was doing it.
Yeah. Then moving a little bit forward, his uncle arranged for him to have his first guitar lesson. And then that's when he got a Gibson, knockoff Gibson guitar. And basically,
it was like GIBDSON. Gibson.
So in 1983, he attended his first rock concert, which was Sammy Hagar.
Oh, wow.
But at that point, he then was living with his grandparents because he was unhappy with his living situation.
It's like stepmom and like all that shit.
Yeah. So then he was living with his grandparents, and then he was unhappy with living with his grandparents.
Oh, wow. So he's like, this all sucks.
Yes, exactly. So he again got frustrated, and that's when he started to go to his friends and sleep on their couch.
So how old is he about this time?
It's like 83, so he's 19.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Well, he's like, you're on place
18,
now, bro.
19. Yeah. So he started to basically just find out where he could live, renting out rooms. He moved into a house where he rented a room where they had musical gear, and that's when he was able to use more gear and start
More
jamming,
music, yeah.
you know? That's the whole thing, yeah. So Cobain dropped out of high school, and then his friends then asked him to move out.
Get the fuck out of here, bro.
Because it was, the painting.
You're not contributing.
Yeah. The writing was kind of on the wall. This is, he's sleeping on the spare room and in a strange family's house.
So it's
and-
like, we're not going to feed you anymore.
Yeah.
One night, 2 nights, and then
Yes.
it turns into a year, and it's like, okay, all right.
I can't buy you clothes anymore, bro. Like, get out.
yeah. So, but that's when he also started to get in trouble.
Oh.
So he got arrested a few times for basic vandalism, graffiti, drunken, disorderly, different arrests.
Yeah, just like fucking.
Yeah.
He's a vagrant.
Yeah, exactly. He got a job as a janitor at his old high school.
Solid.
And at that time, so you got to know in the early 90s, it was a strange, the formation of grunge was an interesting thing because it was almost like a depressive state / hate the establishment.
Oh, yeah.
And hate the 70s of jocks and, bro dudes.
And they just
and-
like upset.
Yes.
You're upset and everything sucks.
Yes, exactly. I want to read a quote. He reflected later about Aberdeen. He says, "It's a coastal town about 100 miles from Seattle. It's a really small place, a very small community with a lot of people who have very small minds.
Oh, damn.
Basically, if you're not prepared to join the logging industry, you're going to be beaten up or run out of town."
Oh, shit.
wow.
So they're like a gang.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
a fucking gang.
You gonna fucking cut that tree now?
So that was Cobain
Initiation.
saying-
cut that tree.
Cut that fucking tree right now. We're gonna watch you and drink.
So in addition, one of his early high school friends was gay, and he was being bullied.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
And so he kind of embraced the "I'm a rebel."
Oh, like,
You know what I mean?
and
Because
I'm gonna go against the
Yeah,
establishment.
because my
Yeah.
friend is gay and he's getting beat up, and you guys are losers, and fuck this place.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand.
shithole.
I understand that.
I understand
I
it
can,
too, yeah.
I can get behind that.
Yeah. So he was then arrested for graffiti with a tag which was "God is gay," and then in 1985 he was also arrested and he wrote "Ain't got no how whatchamacallit," like the candy bar. Don't know what that means.
Oh, like a watch. I don't know what the.
That's a real rebel right there.
Yeah,
I know that's a real inside fucking dig against what you call.
Yeah, I don't know.
Fuck those chocolate bars. Anti-gay chocolate bar motherfuckers.
I mean, maybe there's more to that sentence, but I don't really.
That's all we know.
ain't
Ain't got no how whatchamacallit. Don't know.
Damn, they were like pissed. They were
Yeah.
like, get this guy.
So then Cobain got into punk. And this is, the Sex Pistols and, that whole scene started to happen. Yeah. And
I'm
one of his
not into that music.
one of his favorite bands was the Melvins, of which he actually got an audition to join the Melvins. But during the audition, he froze up and he just didn't get picked.
Weren't those guys also from Seattle?
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
Yeah. There was a few of them that
Yeah.
came out of there, like we said.
Yeah. In 1984, Cobain got a job at a restaurant. In 85, he rented an apartment in Aberdeen, another maintenance job. He crossed paths with a musician, and his name was Chris Novoselic. Chris Novoselic would become one of the bandmates of Nirvana.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. They started doing rehearsals. They started playing together. Novoselic was the bassist. And so they put together their first songs on a demo tape. This is when you had a cassette.
Oh, yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
bro,
Back in
check
the
out my
Passing my
demo.
demo.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Hey, my demo, brother.
Yeah. So by 86, Cobain and Novoselic formed a band with somebody named Aaron Burkhart. In 87, they debuted at something called a beer bash at a
Fuck yeah.
house.
This sounds dope.
It was just the house.
I would
Like-
go there.
Yeah.
Tell me when the next beer bash is.
Yeah. But apparently nobody was really paying attention because they were
They were
just
too busy
at a beer bash.
Bashing the beers.
Yeah. Hey guys, hope we're enjoying the show so far. We wanted to take a break and just remind you of the different ways that you can support our podcast. The first and foremost is you can subscribe by clicking the follow button on Apple Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts. It's on the show page. It's really easy. You just click it and subscribe. What this does is it makes it so you get notified every new release that comes out. Another way is by simply following us on social media. This is Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, etc. But one of the best ways that you can support our podcast is to help us grow. And how do you do that? You can share the show with friends and family. Okay, thanks a bunch, everybody. Now back to the show. So, yeah.
Will you guys hear anything? No.
So the entire time they were trying to
Just
find
fucking background noise.
they're trying to find their name, I guess. They couldn't figure out a name that they liked. They
So, like,
went
now to the stage.
Yeah, they went through like,
Yeah,
fucking, like
they went
6
through
different
tons.
ones.
Yeah. So at one time they were called Skid Row. Another time they were called Pen Cap Chew. Another time they were called Bliss. And then eventually in 1988, they played under the name Nirvana. And Kurt said the following about the name. He said, I wanted a name that was kind of a beautiful or nice and pretty instead of a mean, raunchy punk name like the Angry Samoans.
Yeah, or Pen Cap Chew.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So they were, Seattle really took off in this whole grunge era, the bands coming out. So they moved to Seattle. But one of the bandmates, the Burkhart guy, he stayed in Aberdeen.
Wow.
So eventually the rehearsals just didn't work. So they said, peace out to
You're
Burkhart.
You're out, bro.
Novoselic also moved to Seattle with him.
You got to think.
So it
about
was just those two.
how
anymore.
pissed. How pissed was that guy? Like,
my
after it's
God.
Imagine that.
he was. Life is not worth living anymore. Like they fucking got huge, and I'm in Aberdeen.
He tells that story
He's-
all the time.
He's a logger. He's like
Yeah.
chopping down logs. Back in my day, I knew this guy.
I was I was the lead singer from Nirvana. And they're like, you don't sing. Yes, I would.
Yeah.
I used to.
So they started doing gigs, but they needed to find somebody else. They needed to find a third at least.
Yeah.
Right? But at this time, he started experiencing these weird stomach pains. And he couldn't figure it out, and he was diagnosed many times, and it was just apparently a very painful stomach problem.
They're like ulcers or something, or they don't know.
Don't even know.
It's like a big poop.
I mean, there's
He was
just
just constipated.
no, and you'll see later that they
still
still
don't really
debated.
know?
You
Yeah.
could go on Reddit right now, and there's 1,000 threads about what stomach problem Kurt Cobain had.
Yeah.
And we don't know.
But it was enough that he was in constant
That's
pain
right.
the whole
and
time.
apparently, it's what led him to heroin.
Well, see, maybe it was
Yeah.
something. It was probably something that wasn't even related to the stomach that was just causing that. And they're we're looking at stomach here. What's wrong with stomach here? And it's probably like something.
But so
liver or
apparently,
some
he went
shit.
to doctors, and they kept saying it's this, and then it never worked. So he tried heroin,
He's, I don't feel shit.
and then now he doesn't.
yeah, just
You know what I
fucking
mean? So
numb this shit.
That's the thing with drugs is you find the one
It
that
takes
it's
away the pain.
pleasure,
It takes away the pain,
right?
and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, this is great.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yep.
Yeah.
Terrified of needles. Yeah, can't do it.
Yeah. At this time, they were noticed instead of them being there's so much aggressive music going on that they're aggressive, but they're not that. They're kind of pleasantly aggressive, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and also with the
You're
name.
talking about Kurt's
Nirvana.
Okay.
Nirvana, you know what I mean? I mean,
'Cause the other ones,
just imagine
other bands were like,
Oh,
aggressive.
crazy! Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So just imagine you go to a show.
Burn it all fucking down.
You go to a show and it's all punk, and then there's Nirvana too. You know what I mean? And it's a little
Yeah.
bit more pleasant, and so they stood out.
And the name, dude, the name's
Yeah.
also
True,
like
true.
You know, like Nirvana is what the fucking Buddhists are searching
Yeah.
for, like fucking.
Yeah. So they got a record deal.
Oh, nice.
You know, they got signed. It was a pretty small one at the time, but still they had this massive problem, which they couldn't find
A third person.
the drummer. Basically, that's what they were looking for. They put ads literally
In the
and they
paper?
just couldn't find it. Yeah.
Put up posters all over Seattle.
Drummer needed.
So
Pay sucks.
they did find a friend was introduced to Cobain and Novoselic, and it was a drummer. His name was Chad Channing, and within a few weeks they began playing together. And so he was the drummer for a couple of years, and so that's what enabled them to go on tour.
yeah.
So they went on tour for about 6 months. They came out with their first album. It was called Bleach. It sold 40,000 units with zero advertising and promotion.
That's impressive.
That's a good sign.
Word of mouth, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at this point, this is when he met a woman named Courtney Love.
Fuck.
Yeah. So apparently, and it's all hearsay and we don't really know, but apparently he met her at a nightclub in Portland.
Wait, at this time, was she already famous?
She was, yeah.
What year is
Hole,
this again?
1990 now.
Okay.
January 90.
Yeah.
She was in a band called Hole.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she was actually doing better than he was.
Yeah.
She was more famous than him.
Yeah, not for long.
But they met at a nightclub, and apparently she had a crush on him because she saw him at a gig. And, Cobain later said, I was determined to be a bachelor for a few months, but I knew I liked Courtney so much.
For a few months. I'm trying to live it.
But I knew I liked Courtney so much right away that it was really hard struggle to stay away from her for so many months. So by the time the pair met, she was already famous. We mentioned that, but Nirvana was growing. So in September of 90, Cobain was introduced to a person named Dave Grohl.
Fucking legend.
Dave Grohl was part of a group called Scream, and he was looking for a new gig. He easily passed the audition and was instantly made part of Nirvana. And he obviously became
Dave Grohl's
almost as famous as Kurt, really.
Well,
in its own.
Well, now
he did Foo Fighters later.
Well, now he's like way more famous.
Well, now.
Yeah, I mean,
like way.
That's not fair.
That's not fair. I know. Yeah.
It's not his fault he's still alive. And Foo Fighters are the shit.
Right.
Like, come on.
But the point is, the guy is a star too. For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Now-
exactly.
Yeah.
September of that year, they released "Smells Like Teen Spirit." That's when things went nuts.
Bananas.
That's MTV TRL. That's when they started pushing it.
Spring break.
Yes. They were, anyways, it was huge. And they got radio hits. They came out with Come As You Are. And they just became massive. And they went on a European tour.
Non-stop on the radio back then.
Never ending, yeah. In 92, Courtney Love found out she was pregnant.
Yeah, right. On purpose. Found out. Ooh, whoopsies.
So they decided to get married, which they did while they were on tour, and they did in Honolulu.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Cobain wore flannel pajamas to the wedding.
My fucking god. What an actual legend. I cannot believe
Flannel.
that's
Yeah,
real.
of course.
Like, flannel pajamas
I
in
didn't
Hawaii.
know that. That's
Yeah, you can
fucking
look it up.
Like, I just got a newfound respect. Like, buying a Nirvana shirt tomorrow.
Yeah. So there were only 8 wedding guests in attendance. Dave Grohl was one of them. But here was the other part, and this is kind of leads into building the story, the backstory that we're talking about and the whole purpose of this, which was that Chris Novoselic didn't go.
Did they say
He
why?
was the guy. You know what I mean? Like, he was the dude, the ride or die at the beginning.
Yeah, from the beginning. He moved to Seattle.
So him and his wife didn't go because they thought that Courtney was a horrible influence.
I see.
And they just had major disagreements on them getting
They
married.
just couldn't get behind it.
They couldn't support it. So
That's a big deal. Like,
I know,
not
that's
go
a
to
huge
the
deal.
not go to the wedding at all?
not go to the wedding. Yeah.
Because I would have been, babe, come on. Who's going? Come on.
Yeah. It's pretty obvious. So the early days of their relationship, they were major heroin
No, drug addicts.
together.
Yeah.
You know, so much so that they went on binges while she was pregnant.
Oh, my God.
Damn.
And then she admitted in magazine articles that she was doing heroin when Frances Bean, which is the daughter, was when she was pregnant with Frances Bean.
What a fucking cunt. I mean, I automatically
So
hate
also
her.
Kurt was too, though.
But he wasn't, he didn't
Yeah,
have a
I
baby
know.
inside of his
No,
body.
I know, but I mean, I'm just saying.
I'm not saying,
they
like-
were
They were both doing it.
they were like partners in crime.
No, but
and,
I'm not
you know,
saying
that-
like, oh, it's doing
Yeah.
heroin's fine as long as you're not pregnant. It's just, it's
Yeah.
actually, that should be a criminal. It's
Yeah.
like a criminal.
It should be. Should
Like,
be.
what the fuck?
Yep.
Damn.
That's so fucked up.
So August 18th, 1992, Courtney Love gave birth to Frances Bean Cobain.
Thank God she
A few days later, Child Protective Services visited the couple to assess if it was an unhealthy environment.
Did they visit her uterus? Like, Jesus Christ, unhealthy environment.
So the agents did not do anything at the time. So they visited them, but they did not.
They were like, can we get an autograph, bro?
Yeah, exactly.
Basically, yeah. So in 92, in Vanity Fair, she was a big interview in it. She's quoted as saying that she and Cobain went on a drug binge after finding out she was pregnant.
Damn.
I mean, it's just such a weird reaction. I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
Get the heroin.
It might have been
so
like,
there was
let's get as much as we can out of this. Like, let's just do it. Let's go on
I wouldn't even understand
Or they're
like, a glass
nervous?
of
I don't
champagne.
know. Oh, I know.
Sure, a glass
I'm
of
not saying
champagne.
it's
Go
right.
for it.
Yeah,
But
I'm not
let's-
saying it's right.
let's inject heroin in our bodies. That's
Jesus
genius.
Yeah. Now, in her defense, she claimed she was misquoted later.
Oh, okay. How do you get misquoted?
It happens all the time.
I said we were on a. We were. I don't even what rhymes with binge. Like that was a singe. On my,
I said I saw one syringe, not a binge.
It was a syringe of hormones. Like that. It wasn't heroin.
Soon thereafter, Child Protective Services went back because that article also caused a stir. You know?
Yeah.
They went back and they lost custody.
Oh, so the state took the
Damn.
kid?
Yeah, and they awarded it to Courtney Love's sister, Jamie. So Francis was with Jamie for a bit, but Cobain and Love had to get through a program.
Oh, of course.
Like
And
a
then
rehab.
yeah,
and, all
and then
that.
pass drug tests, and then they eventually
got custody
reclaimed Francis back.
yeah, because like
makes sense.
at least
Good.
I'm actually at least
Yeah.
she went to her aunt, you know, and not to like
Yeah.
some
True,
random
true.
family.
True,
Like,
very true,
That would have sucked.
Yeah, yeah. So February '93 now, Nirvana releases Heart-Shaped Box, All Apology, you know that song. Number ones.
Oh yeah,
Killing it.
Killing it. Yeah.
Number ones. He's still using heroin this whole time.
It's hard for people to get off.
Yeah.
I never did.
In '93, while preparing for a concert in New York, he OD'd on heroin.
Fuck.
Damn.
Yeah. Apparently, Courtney Love revived him herself with naloxone, which is like a stimulant to revive you,
Oh,
basically from.
it's almost like epinephrine, which
Yeah,
is
like
this-
it's-
is
it's-
this adrenaline.
Yeah,
This is pure adrenaline.
Although what's crazy is to me is you have to be an extreme addict to be carrying around this revival drug.
I just my hand in it.
Who got it? Who has it?
Happen to
Who
have
has
this on me.
Give me the epinephrine
It's
now.
almost like
It's
you're
not funny,
You're
but-
preparing for that.
I
It's
know.
like-
Yeah, you're preparing for ODing.
That's like that's when you're
insane,
That's
right?
what happens when you're like a rich drug addict.
True.
You have it, you're like contingencies. But so like in case I OD, I got the pens are in the back. Okay,
It's all good. It's all good.
I know, it's not like you're on the street and you're just like die.
Yeah.
So she saves him.
Yeah, and apparently he then took the stage that night.
Oh my god, what a psycho!
What?
I'm good. I'm good. I said I'm good.
Isn't that crazy? This reminds me of
Bro,
Elvis.
I'm good, bro.
I know. Like,
Doesn't it remind you? It
Yeah.
reminds me of the story of Elvis.
He's
where
all
he's
like sweaty and like
yeah, and
fucking,
he's drugged out and he's whatever, and then all of a sudden he gets on stage, bam, he's in.
Yeah, it reminds me of Babe Ruth.
Yeah,
He's just like fucking
Yeah.
shit faced, and he's like, okay,
17 hot dogs.
And he's like, fuck it, let's do this.
So March 1st, 1994, Munich, Germany, Nirvana does their final gig. So Courtney and Cobain, they flew to Rome with guitarist Pat Smear, but on March 3rd, Cobain overdosed from a combination of basically the roofie pill, Rohypnol, and champagne. And so apparently the roofie was put into the champagne, kind of like sprinkled into it, and he OD'd.
Yeah, you don't really OD on champagne. Trust me,
I tried.
I've drank a lot of shit. I just pass out. Like, there's no OD. The OD is puking because
Yeah.
you're drunk.
So both Smear and Grohl recounted the incident in the documentary Foo Fighters, back and forth, with Grohl sharing that Cobain indicated that the overdose was a mistake. However, Courtney Love believes that he tried to kill himself. So you have Grohl saying Cobain thought it was an accident, and then you have Courtney saying this is him killing himself.
Okay.
Okay?
But I feel like if he was going to kill himself, wouldn't he use Old Faithful heroin? Wouldn't he like go back to,
Yeah.
fucking.
But here's the interesting part, okay? So I'm going to go back 2 days. Before the show, Cobain got into a fight over the phone with Courtney. So before the show in Munich, the last one, right? He got into a fight on the phone with her, of which he was screaming and yelling that he needs to divorce her.
I'm fucking done with you. See this shit?
So he kept screaming and yelling to this other person that he wanted to stop doing Nirvana,
Oh shit.
and he didn't like being famous.
Oh, he's like, I'm done. This is not fun.
He didn't like it, and he wanted to divorce Courtney.
So you just want to
He
go
wanted
back.
a full life change.
I can imagine being an artist like that, and I feel like, you're all about the music and how it makes people feel and stuff, but fame
You're not about the
fame sounds like
fans.
shit. When I think of like
It
being
does.
famous, it sounds terrible.
It does sound terrible.
does.
Like
Yeah.
everyone's
I mean,
all up
of
your
course.
up your ass all the time.
Yeah, all of us will take the money, but the,
Oh,
fucking,
trust me.
the annoying fans,
Trust
like,
me, listeners, make us famous. but just don't look for me.
not that famous.
No, just
though.
like medium famous. Like
Yeah.
C-list.
Well, no, what we want is no face famous.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Voice famous.
Yeah,
I just want to be voice famous.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, like Liberace.
I don't want to. No, I don't want to.
No, I don't want.
I just
Okay,
don't.
so so Nirvana's management would claim that the overdose was accidental, but then months later,
I accidentally took Rohypnol. Whoopsies.
but then months later, Courtney Love told Rolling Stone that he took 50 pills, and that he wrote her a suicide note.
Oh,
But she ripped up the suicide note
okay.
Come on now.
Okay.
or burned it, whatever. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It was in my mind.
She said that he would rather die than go through another divorce.
Another divorce?
Another?
Remember when he was 9?
Oh,
Okay. Yeah.
But that's a little different when like you're in the
I don't know.
relationship.
yeah, but
I
he's
know,
like
but
fucking
me-
so scarred from
he's
that.
super,
or,
yeah.
and-
Obviously, it was a change in his life, and I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know.
like divorce.
It is
equals
pretty.
divorce. Like, it's the
no
same-
offense to all of this, but it's pretty drama-y.
I'm like,
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean,
my mom got divorced. I love you, mom. It's nothing against you. I'm
me
just
too.
saying, like,
I'm in the same boat.
I'm not like, give me the Rohypnol,
Yeah.
50
know.
pills. And oh, by the way, I'm rich and famous. Kill me.
Yeah.
I can't go through another divorce from Courtney, who I literally said I want to get divorced from. Like, there's the thing. He said I want to get.
I want to get a divorce.
Well,
yeah.
So why would he be-
according to her?
No.
No.
According to people
according
who
to
heard
people
the
who heard
conversation
him.
on the
Oh,
phone.
okay,
But
okay,
she
okay.
never said that.
She's saying that he'd rather die than go through another
Yes.
divorce.
Okay.
Meanwhile, he's like,
So you
I'm
see-
done with you, bitch.
Yeah, and you see that so far, and we'll keep going, but you see that she's the one saying he was suicidal.
She said,
Suicidal.
Suicidal.
No.
Suicidal.
switch a sample.
Suicidal. Switch sample.
See, you fool me. Can't fool me.
Yeah, boom.
No, she's the one who's saying that he
It kind
wanted to kill
of
himself.
seems like she's setting the table.
Yes.
Like she's
Right.
setting the narrative.
bit.
She's setting the narrative
a little
a
bit.
bit.
Yeah.
He keeps trying to kill himself.
Okay,
I ripped
so-
up the note. I don't want to incriminate him, but I ripped up the note, so I'm going to incriminate him right now.
So Nirvana.
Trust me. Just trust me on this, bro.
So Nirvana.
He typed it.
Nirvana as a whole decided to reschedule the entire tour to allow him to recover.
Okay.
Basically.
Good guess.
Yeah.
Okay, but one thing to note is that the doctor
In Rome.
in Rome that took care of Kurt Cobain, right? He was later interviewed, and then they were asking him, like, when you pumped his stomach, did you actually take out that many pills?
Yeah.
And he said, no way, So it was only like one. I don't remember exactly if he said one or the number, but it was definitely not. He said definitely not 50 pills.
And even if it was a physical pill, I wonder if there was all the amount, like
The amount,
per
yeah.
parts per million or whatever the fuck.
But I mean,
that shit,
Yeah.
I mean, one roofie's gonna do it.
I know.
Right?
I've
So
never,
isn't that the
I've
idea?
never done a roofie, but like my concept of it was one and done, and then you wake up the next day.
So
You're
50
like,
would have probably killed him.
Have you ever been roofied?
I've actually never done any drugs.
Any drugs? Period.
No.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I've done a lot. Never done roofies though. Never. It was never on my.
No,
never like my drug of choice.
Now, if you didn't know though, you wouldn't know.
No, because you just black out. I mean, I blacked out before.
I
but
know,
that was
but
after,
how would
like-
you know if you?
But you say you did or you did not do roofie?
No, I've never done it on.
But you were just saying like that's what happens.
no,
you
what
just
happened?
black out.
No, yeah. The thing is, because
So say we're drinking hard, right?
that-
Say
I've-
we're drinking hard.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I black out.
Yeah.
How would I just not? How would I know the difference between us just drinking hard?
No,
And then
what
being
happens? 'Cause-
roofied.
So when I was in college, we had a bunch of girlfriends, like friends that were girls, and a couple of them had got roofied, and so we were like, "Fuck this! Like, you're not allowed to go out. Like, we'll all go out together."
Yeah.
And so they said that pretty much what happened was they went to a party, and it was like they had one drink, and then they woke
I
up.
see.
And they woke up the next day. So it's not they were.
They weren't like 15
No,
in
they weren't like
and then
shit faced.
smashed. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they were just starting, had one drink, and then was out.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
So that's how they knew it was something off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so her statement in Rolling Stone, she said he took 50 fucking pills.
That's so many pills. I
That's
mean,
quoted.
if I took like 50, like
We talked about Maryland,
like potassium pills, I'd fucking
yeah. No, remember we talked
OD?
about.
I know straight like. "Ugh."
Remember we talked about Maryland?
Exactly. Yeah.
Same thing,
Right,
right?
yeah, right.
50 pills, la la. But that interview of the doctor, obviously there
He
wasn't
denied
50.
it. So now you start to
So
get
now
into like
she-
the
we know
credibility
she's
of
lying.
this chick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
she's
she's a
lying.
little exaggeration
Yeah.
station here.
Yeah. So Nirvana decided as a whole to reschedule the tour to allow him to recover, basically.
Yeah.
Of which he also wanted them to back out of Lollapalooza, which is a big festival,
Yeah.
big rock festival, etc. Of which they were offered $10 million
Jesus
to play Lollapalooza.
Christ.
Nirvana.
Nirvana.
That's so much money, especially that was in the 90s.
Yeah.
Woo!
So
10
apparently
million.
Courtney Love was very mad about him backing out of Lollapalooza.
Well, I bet she was. He took 100 Ruben.
So from there, Courtney Love tried to handle his heroin addiction. She forbid him from using drugs in the house. So Cobain,
Coming from the chick who fucking took heroin.
I
Yeah,
know,
she was
she's,
probably doing it.
she's
Okay.
just as bad.
Now
He
she's
even-
holier than thou.
Yeah, yeah. And so he would then just go to motel rooms and apartments with the dealers.
He's like, I'm not breaking the rules.
yeah, you know what I
doing it
mean?
in the
I
house.
mean, this is this is one of the most addictive things ever, right?
Oh yeah.
It's
Heroin.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's not going to stop a multimillionaire.
I know. He's like, I'm rich. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm going to go record, babe.
Yeah.
I'll be back. I'll
So-
be back later.
So on March 18th, Seattle police were called to their home after an argument ended with Cobain locking himself in a room with guns, and then eventually they opened the room and they seized all of his weapons.
What state was this in?
Washington. This is at his home
okay.
in Seattle, Aberdeen area. Yeah. So Courtney said that he was gonna kill himself, but Cobain said, I was not going to kill myself.
He's like, the guns were self-defense.
That makes
But,
sense?
but he was locked in a room with the gun.
with the guns.
No, but it's okay. That's a little semantics though. It's, if I locked myself in my bedroom, I have guns in there. If I locked myself in my hallway, I got guns in there too. You know, it's just because there are guns in the vicinity doesn't
I guess
mean
it
like.
kind of depends because
Did
it would
he-
be
if
different.
If he,
like, I
grabbed,
don't-
if he grabbed guns and then ran in there and locked
Yeah.
himself in, that's a different story.
It's different because also you know me. If I was in a room with guns, it would
I'd
be
be like,
different
yeah.
than if you were because
Oh, no.
I don't have any guns.
I'd be like, I'm
Right.
cleaning
Do you know
them.
what I
What's the
mean?
problem? I'm like
Yeah.
loading. Like, fuck off.
So I think it's in context or in
True,
you
yeah.
know, character.
I just don't
you know,
know, like,
whatever.
I'm just not. I wish there was more information if he had them out or there's a safe in there with
Yeah.
guns. And he locked himself in the room. There's guns and
Yeah.
a safe in there.
True.
You know, is that really a danger?
Yeah.
But they said they confiscated all of his
and
shit.
she's the one that
Seized
called
them
it
all.
in.
Yeah.
So does it say, did she call it in? And she's like, oh my God, he locked himself and he's suicidal. You need to come quick.
There's
or-
no statement. Yeah, there's no police statement
Damn it.
like
So
recorded.
missing
Yeah.
information.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I mean, it is 35 years ago.
That's
you
a great point.
and there's-
Okay, fine. You get a pass.
So March.
Allow it.
So a week later, Courtney Love and 9 others, which were bandmates, friends, agents, they went to Cobain with a full-scale intervention.
Sit down,
Okay.
buddy.
Right?
Sit down, buddy.
We got to talk.
Cobain was livid. Cobain was livid. He lashed out to everybody in the room, especially to Courtney Love, who he said was more fucked up than he was.
I mean,
I would have been the same way.
but that is isn't that a classic defense mechanism where
Totally.
like you're
Well, it's a
doing?
classic, but it is also true. Like,
It's I know.
Listen,
he's
Jorge.
like, what the fuck? You trying to
You're-
talk to me
you're more
about ODs
strung up
and
than
fuck-
I am.
Yeah.
But Jorge, if you start doing heroin and I try to intervention you and you lash out to me, you're not right.
Yeah. No, but
Yeah.
You're wrong.
No, I know,
you're
yeah.
still.
But
You're
if
still.
you're
yeah.
but if you're the one doing drugs with me all the
True.
time,
It's both of you.
it's like what the?
I would be.
You want to talk to me about fucking intervention? What about you, motherfucker?
No.
Let's get you in the middle.
I totally understand him lashing out at her.
Right.
But lashing out like is like
At
his,
the other
his
guys.
other his agent.
Yeah.
He's,
Dave Grohl,
he's like
I mean-
Dave's like, bro, I'm not doing heroin. Like, fuck off. Like, but obviously, Courtney, yeah. Like even when I said, coming from the chick who did heroin when she was pregnant,
yeah.
like
I know.
fucking, like
I
you
know.
have no say.
Yeah.
you say nothing.
And I really regret watching this, but there's a video on YouTube, and it's a behind the whatever. It's a video of them high,
Ugh.
and they're out of their minds.
Oh yeah,
both of them,
That's what heroin does, dude.
like singing, giving piggyback rides, completely stoned out of their minds. It's just not a pleasant video because you know they're fucking
know that they're
drugged
on
out.
heroin.
Yeah. So Courtney Love responded to that, saying that she had made plans to go to a drug rehab. And that
so
she said
she made plans. She didn't execute the plan.
she said that if he doesn't go to rehab, then they're getting a divorce. That's what she says later.
That's what she says that she said at that time.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. Yeah. But
He's like,
also,
sweet, I'm not going to stop doing drugs. Like, get divorced.
but
Dope.
also the bandmates offered an ultimatum as well, saying if you don't do rehab, then you're out of Nirvana.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he had a problem for sure.
Oh, he
Like,
did.
right?
Super
Yeah.
bad. Yeah. Very deep.
So, but the intervention ended with no real result. No real, okay, we're going to do this. It was kind of like an impasse, like a stalemate kind of
See you
thing.
tomorrow. We're gonna recap.
Yeah.
I'll see you at rehearsal.
So Courtney left for the airport immediately, and then all of them left. And then Cobain then went to his dealer that night.
Oh, of course he did.
And the dealer was interviewed later. I don't know how they found the
him?
dealer. Yeah.
Hey, put me on record.
But Cobain is quoted as saying, "Where are my friends when I need them? All my friends are against me."
Jesus, like so that's the answer.
So between that moment and when he eventually did check into a rehab, he had interactions with the grandparents where he planned a fishing trip. The grandma said everything seemed fine when he talked to me. He seemed very happy. The day after the intervention, Cobain visited his mother and sister, who left his house in tears after seeing him again strung out on heroin.
And so that's what I want to say. It's such a classic thing.
Yeah.
My friends are against me for getting me to stop doing drugs.
I know, right?
Like, come on, man. Like,
Yeah,
take
it's a
some fucking
classic
like,
intervention.
You lose any personal responsibility, and it's just everyone's
It's all
against
their
me.
fault.
Yeah, it's
Or-
everyone's.
No, yeah.
Everyone's making me wrong.
Yeah. Okay, so March 29th, Cobain agrees to let Chris Novoselic take him to the airport to do rehab. So this is his homie.
Yeah,
right?
Chris is like,
He's like, I'm going to drive you
day
there.
one. He's a
I'm
day
gonna
one.
Get you. I'm going to drive you there. Okay. Takes him to the airport. They get into a fist fight in the terminal.
He's like, get on the plane. Fuck off, Chris.
Yeah. And then,
tell me what to
he
do.
takes a cab home. He doesn't get on the plane.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Do Chris.
So he goes back home.
And he's like, calls the dealer. My friends hate me.
So the
You're the
next
only
day,
friend I got.
So the next day, there's a friend of his named Dylan Carlson, and Dylan Carlson's also a druggie. He's a drug addict. He's a musician, etc. But he asked him to help him buy a gun.
Wait, Kurt asked this guy.
Dylan, yeah,
I thought he already. Oh, they confiscated. it.
confiscated. So here's why. So he didn't want his name to be on the gun, basically, because all of his stuff was confiscated before, and he didn't even know if he could get the gun.
Sounds like
So-
a
Because he's on
so
like a
Dylan
list.
got the gun.
So Dylan got the gun. So they went. Yes.
idiot.
Yeah.
Listen,
so,
Dylan, buy with your name.
Yeah.
Trust me on this.
Trust me.
Yeah, so
We're homies, right?
he told Carlson that the gun was for warding off trespassers because he claimed recently that his house was robbed.
That's not
Okay.
probably true.
Yeah.
Could have happened.
Okay, they go to a place called Stan Baker Sports,
So it's like Dick's, but like in the 90s.
and they bought a shotgun. And he said it seemed kind of weird that he was buying the shotgun before he was leaving for rehab. Dylan offered to keep it until Cobain returned, but Cobain declined, taking the gun to his house before heading to the airport that night. So basically, he was going to go to rehab. He finally, whatever. I don't know. We don't know what the fight was.
I was gonna ward off the trespass.
Yeah, I wish
before.
we knew more about that.
I know. We don't know what happened the day before, but so he was going to go. So then Cobain was planning to go to Exodus Recovery in LA for 4 weeks.
Damn. Man.
Now, Exodus Recovery treated him as a normal patient, not a suicidal one, because they were not told about the Rome incident.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, well, also
It's kinda like the suicide watch.
The Rome incident is
Yeah.
also like
I know.
a
It
little,
could go either way.
iffy.
Yeah, it could go either way. So he was treated like a normal patient. And witnesses say he was cooperative. He was really nice. He was
Maybe they put him on the Epstein suicide watch. Like, 31 hours, good to go. He's cured.
yeah. Meanwhile, let's not forget Epstein was in prison.
True. Good point. True. Valid point. He was not a free man.
He didn't pay $20,000 to get in there.
Exodus.
Yes. Yeah.
Continue,
Okay, so
please.
he was visited by Frances Bean, his daughter, twice with the nanny. He was happy.
With the nanny.
Yeah, they
Not-
have a nanny.
Not
Not Courtney.
Courtney. Yeah.
Not Courtney, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So at about 6 p.m. on his third day, he made a phone call to Courtney Love. This is per Courtney Love.
Can't trust it.
So this is
already
what
a
Courtney
lie.
says.
He hasn't even said.
Yeah.
Don't care. Don't even say it.
So Courtney says at the end of the conversation, he said, "Just remember, no matter what, I love you." Click.
Yeah, right. He was probably like, did you get the papers I sent you? Did you sign them? He goes,
An
"We're
hour,
done."
an hour and a half later, Cobain went outside to smoke a cigarette. He scaled a 6-foot brick wall while nobody was looking and escaped the rehab center.
What a badass. Holy shit.
Wow. Okay.
By the time anybody knew what was happening, he was already on a plane back to Seattle.
And his cigarette's still lit on the ground. They're like, where the fuck's Kurt?
So he took a flight back to
Dude, what a
Seattle.
what
his
a
home.
jam. He's like,
Crazy,
fuck this
right?
place. I'm out of here.
Wasn't it cool too back then? You just had like $100 bill and you're like, take me to Austin.
I know. They're
Yeah. You know what I mean?
No ID, no
tracking,
ID, no anything.
nothing.
They're like,
You don't need anything.
And that's
Yes.
that's when you walk, you buy your ticket like at the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. The time of DB Cooper.
Yeah, like, legendary time.
Heyday. So this is when it gets weird. Yeah, this is when it gets foggy. This is when, it's just, I don't know, you say this, you say that.
We don't have a lot of like concrete
That's right.
evidence.
Yeah. So Cobain's final days in Seattle are a big mystery. There were multiple sightings. People said, "Oh, I saw Cobain."
like fucking
blah,
Bigfoot.
blah. Yeah, at a coffee shop. It's like
Cobain
Tupac.
sighting.
It's like Tupac in Jamaica. You don't know.
Or Cuba.
You know?
That was,
So there's some reports that he went to like his dealer's place. There's another report that he drove 40 minutes outside of Seattle with a friend, but there's no real way to like track
Know
him
exactly
really.
what happened,
Yeah. Here's what we do know. Cobain returned to Seattle. The first thing he did is he went to the house, and after midnight he arrived on April 2nd. And at dawn, he had somebody house sitting the house. It was a guy named Callie. Okay. And he was house sitting it with his girlfriend. He walked in, sat on their bed at dawn, started talking to them while they were asleep.
And they're still sleeping. He's like, it's been fucking a wild ride. Made it to the top.
So
Wait, it's worth noting that Callie was Courtney's ex-boyfriend.
there you go.
All right.
Yes.
Oh,
And
Callie's the dude?
Yeah,
Callie's
he's
a dude.
His
Callie's
real name's Michael, but they just call him Callie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, weird. That's her ex-boyfriend.
And he was
He's-
house sitting the house.
I would never have my wife's
I know.
not in a million years. Hey, why don't you stay at my house? Fucking no. How about you stay out of my face?
Yeah. But he also had his girlfriend there. And so
So
anyway, so
Don't care.
Cobain walked in though. Cobain walked in, sat on the bed, and just started talking to them.
reminds me of,
It's like 6 a.m.
this reminds me of Wedding Crashes where like Christopher Walken walks in, like he's strapped in the bed and he's like, yeah. It's just like fucking it's just that's a conversation with them.
Oh, what a great movie.
It's so good.
Callie said he thought it was a hallucination. He didn't think it was real. So just imagine Kurt Cobain walks in. It's 6 a.m.
Well, it's a little different because you're house sitting his house.
Yeah,
You're
okay.
like friends.
But
or-
even still, let's say
Yeah.
I'm just house sitting your house.
Yeah.
And you come in at 6 in the morning.
Like, sit down
I'm
on
with
the
my
bed.
girl, and we're dead asleep, and you just sit down and you start talking about some fucking shit.
You'd be like, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah,
Like,
and then
please
you
don't, like,
leave 10 minutes later.
just walk out.
Yeah, the next morning I might be like,
That didn't
it's
happen.
a dream.
happen?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a dream. You know,
Yeah,
yeah.
like,
And
nothing
most of
happened.
these people are super drugged up.
I know. So
God knows what they
he
were
was
doing.
like, man, that stuff was
Maybe
great.
Callie was high as shit too, and he was like, did
But-
this happen? Like,
Good stuff.
Yeah. So they went back to sleep.
Yeah, like
Okay.
fucking.
yeah.
So then Cobain took a taxi to a gun shop to buy shotgun shells. Okay.
Is that report? Is that like verified?
Official? Is that
It's verified, yeah. Oh, and then it is confirmed that Callie was doing drugs, so he didn't even know when he came back.
Yeah, he was like,
like
Yeah.
fucking high out of his
lit.
mind?
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 days later, he realized it was real.
2 days later.
Yeah, 2 days later.
Holy shit!
So then 2 days later,
oh, what the fuck?
so then 2 days later, Callie called Courtney Love and said, "Hey, Cobain's here. He escaped,
he escaped fucking
and he's
rehab.
here." Okay. Yeah. So then they started searching for him, and they couldn't find him. For 2 days, they couldn't find him, including somebody that Courtney Love hired, which was a private detective named Grant. And we're going to get into that next episode a lot more.
Private dick.
But they for 2 days they searched
Private
for him. For 2 days they couldn't find him.
I mean, they are in like probably the backwoods of fucking Washington. Probably pretty easy to vanish.
So 2 days later, on April 8th, an electrician came to the house. An electrician was there to install more security wires and more lighting, basically, to illuminate the
Who called
property.
him? Do we know who called him?
Don't know that. Yeah, don't know that. So in their house, there's a greenhouse that's above the garage, and it's kind of like a room, and it's got these French doors, and there's one walkway up to it, okay? So the electrician went up there, and then he was looking through one of the windows, and he saw a body laying there and bleeding out of the ears, and he realized he should call.
Yeah.
Well, when you see a shotgun next to a body, yeah, you
I
gotta
mean,
call.
when I see bleeding out the ears,
Yeah.
some medical emergency? No.
I mean, obviously you can get the idea, but that was Kurt Cobain having shot himself or killed with a shotgun.
Did he shoot himself in the head?
Yeah.
Was it like through the mouth, like putting his mouth, like blow the back of his head off?
We don't know.
Yeah, see, that's
Yeah,
don't know.
that's
We
kinda
don't know.
weird
They
that we
don't say.
know that, you know.
Yeah, they don't say. But I mean, through his face or through his neck, we don't really know. They didn't really release that stuff. So a couple of things on it, real quick, before we dive into.
The fact that like
Yeah,
even
we'll
the
go into
drug
the
up
next
people didn't
episode.
hear any loud like they heard him like talking to him on the bed, but they couldn't hear a goddamn shotgun shot.
Yeah.
That's
So
a good
loud
point.
as
That's
fuck.
a good point.
one of the first responders to get there was a guy named Fisk, and he was part of paramedics, right? And they had to break a window to get in.
Why didn't they just go in where the electrician
locked.
went in?
He didn't go in. He just saw it through the windows.
Oh,
It was like a door with
okay.
like
Yeah, it's like a French door, so it's like the
I
whole
got you.
door
So
is
you're
a
gonna see
window.
through. Okay,
Yeah,
I thought he like walked in and was like, oh,
His name was Fisk. His name was John Fisk. And Fisk was the first person to enter the greenhouse where Cobain's body was discovered. He had to break a small glass panel on one of the locked French doors to enter the room. Fisk said it was immediately evident to the paramedics that this was a DOA. So there was
Dead
nothing.
on arrival,
Yeah, so there's nothing for them to do. They're paramedics. They're there to see if, right?
Sorry,
they don't need to start trying to
Yeah.
revive the guy.
Yeah.
quick,
Exactly.
interesting point. Sorry to go back to the F scene. Was this our last episode? Remember they went in there? They were trying to resuscitate his ass.
True.
He's probably dead for hours, and they're like, "No, fuck it, chest compressions."
Yeah, but it's
Well,
different if you
Cobain
walk
was
in.
dead for 2 days.
That's a good point. Yeah,
And-
it probably
and-
smelled
and-
like decomp in there. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I was gonna say if you hang yourself or if you shoot yourself, it's very different
Oh,
to
yeah, it's like his
identify.
head is, like,
yeah,
exploded,
you're like,
yeah.
okay, this guy's dead
Dead,
on arrival.
100%.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So here's some weird parts, okay? Fisk said that of the first responders, nobody recognized him.
Wait, what?
Okay, so the first responders, the paramedics that came in, nobody recognized that it was Kurt Cobain. He's the biggest, the biggest
like-
celebrity.
Definitely in Seattle. He's the biggest.
And North. I mean,
In America,
at least,
Definitely
Seattle.
in
Yes,
Seattle.
that's right. So nobody was familiar. Nobody knew it was him.
That's
okay?
weird.
But there's
they
that
don't-
first.
But do they say
But-
because his face was shot off?
No,
or
and
what?
check it out. He
It's like
says
his no head. Like
He says, though he pointed out that Cobain was recognizable despite a gunshot wound to the head, meaning it wasn't like
it was. You could see his face.
you could see your face.
It probably was
Okay.
like through his mouth. It was blew
Yeah.
the back of the head's
yeah,
gone.
and you could see. He said he had stringy blonde hair. Pretty basic.
Yeah.
So
But
what-
I mean, they should recognize him.
So
He's the
near
biggest
his
celebrity
body-
in the town.
I know. Yeah.
It's like LeBron. It's finally that. Who the fuck's this?
Yeah.
Very large black male.
So here are the things.
Kind of recognize him, but you know.
Receding hair.
Those plugs.
Sorry, Brown.
Sorry, not sorry. You're rich.
Doesn't matter when you're rich.
It doesn't. You're rich.
A couple of things about the crime scene, and this is from the viewpoint of a first responder. So he's not a detective.
Right.
He's a first responder. Okay. So in the little garden bed, there was a red pen with a suicide note, like stuck in between the red pen.
Oh, so it wasn't even by his body. It was in the garden bed.
But it was in the room because it was like
Yeah.
a greenhouse.
Oh, it was a greenhouse.
So it was
Sorry,
like
I thought
just
you
a
meant
little
like
tiny
I thought you
bed.
meant like
Yeah.
outside.
No, no.
Like,
No,
yeah.
just very tiny bed. Yeah.
Okay.
So then there was a strangely not a lot of blood.
Especially
For
a
a shotgun to the
shotgun
head.
blast to the head. That's weird.
abnormal, not, you know what I mean? There was blood, but not
But not
what
like
you would think.
You would think it'd be like
Yeah.
just a
Yeah.
gruesome scene.
Then to the side of him was a cigar box full of all his heroin stuff.
Yep.
But none of the heroin stuff was elsewhere.
It was like used.
Yeah, in the needles and the spoon and the, you know what I mean,
The,
the
like,
wrap,
fucking,
the cord and
You
all
would have
that
think he
stuff.
would have did like one last little
No,
rip.
no, but here's the thing: is it was all tucked into it,
Oh,
so it wasn't like he shot up and then
I see.
Right, and like
Left
just
it
kinda,
out.
like fell
First of all,
back.
like,
so it was like
first of all,
put away.
You're gonna kill yourself.
So
You're
he's
like,
like,
I'm gonna tidy up.
yeah.
I was gonna-
Let me shoot up, but let me make sure this looks tidy.
And he's like, he's all fucked up. He's like, I gotta clean this up. Yeah.
So he was laying down, and in his left hand was the shotgun. Okay, the shotgun was inverted.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
So it's like easier, I guess, to
Yeah.
do, like, the
Yeah,
toe-
so his
the
left
little
hand,
toe on it? Yeah.
his left hand
Holding
was
it.
fully frozen on it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know, because
Locked, yeah.
Yeah, it was locked. Yeah.
And then like rigor mortis sits in. He's like,
And then the shell casing was to his left.
so it's inverted.
Which means the
The
shell
shell
casing.
casing would have
So
went,
that-
right.
would have went to the right
There you go.
because
There you
if it goes out to the right
That's right.
when you go, that's weird.
Yeah.
I've shot a lot of shotguns. It's always
It's
Yeah.
always that.
it's
way.
always that way because especially if it's inverted
Now-
upside down. The
The
shell
only
casing.
thing I
So
can
much.
think of for that, by the
Well,
way.
no, we're not going to debunk it now. We got to give it to the
Shut
next
up, Jorge.
episode. There's a part two. There's a part two. So then it went on the airwaves, and the world was shocked. You know, and there even became copycat suicide kids.
Wow,
That's sad.
that's
Killing
fuck-
themselves.
That's
Like
fucked
people
up.
that followed him.
Yeah, and they
like,
loved him.
Loved
and,
him.
You know, and they just
they
looked up to him. And
That's so
So they, like,
stupid. Why the
they
fuck?
killed themselves with shotguns too and all that? Like
Same
trying to
way.
copy?
Same
Wow,
way.
that's crazy.
Why would you do that?
I can pull up the statistic, but I think it was about 60.
Oh my
What?
god!
Wow.
I don't like
60
anybody that
yeah.
much. Not a
Yeah.
one motherfucker I like that
No.
much.
I know, but
no.
like, you know, the hero.
So?
I know.
No,
You know,
but-
I'm just trying to, but you're a kid. I'm just trying to find
I'm
the
sorry.
reasoning.
I just have never.
I know.
I
You're a kid. You're already depressed, suicidal.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
you're
saying.
already
It's-
on drugs.
yeah, you're
You
on
know,
drugs
you-
and
you
like,
know.
you're into grunge. That's so
So-
sad. That's so
that
sad.
sucks.
So, and then to wrap up the episode, at the time, his estate or whatever,
Yeah, it's a state.
he left no will.
So it automatically goes to Courtney.
Half
Yeah,
to Courtney and half to Francis.
yeah.
Oh.
Francis was put into a trust.
No, but Francis can't get hers because she's
right.
not 18, so it goes
There you
into
go.
probate.
There you go. So half of it went
Yeah.
into this trust or whatever.
Yeah.
And then half went to Courtney, of which at that time it was worth 100 million or so.
Jesus Christ.
God
It was
damn.
estimated because of what was happening.
It's all like the publishing rights to
Yes,
the music
there you go.
and like
There you go.
all this
Yeah.
stuff. So
As of today, it's estimated $500 million.
Jesus.
Now, a lot of it was spent.
But doesn't Dave Grohl own some of it too?
Yeah, but that's its own. That's
Dave
its
Grohl.
own. But that's Nirvana.
Yeah.
Like, this is just Kurt.
Oh, it's just
This is
Kurt.
Kurt's
Oh, I
portion.
thought you were talking about Nirvana. Okay.
yeah, no,
Okay.
no,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
So I was gonna say, like, didn't he get a little,
Yeah.
little some of that?
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah. So there you go. So
It's like, I haven't even spent on heroin.
so that's episode 1.
God, they always
Wow.
end. Why do the episodes always end like? Oh,
I mean, most of our episodes end with a
it's just
horrible.
like
you know,
But in episode 2,
episode 2 is crazy. So, Courtney hired a private detective weeks earlier, and this private detective was looking for Kurt and using this Dylan guy to find him. They couldn't find him. They were all misdirected, and all these different things that happened. And
I see.
there's fingerprints. There's this. There's all sorts of stuff that go. What is happening?
I mean, the shell casing thing has got me pretty like, ooh. I mean, because
Oh,
that's
yeah, there's a lot more.
because physics is pretty universal,
right. right.
So also,
Yeah, but even-
if
even-
you were to kill yourself, is that the way you go?
Also,
Upside
the
down?
Yeah.
Also, the
You put it upside
the
down.
thing.
think so.
You know the weirdest thing about all this is, I'm assuming this is a pump action shotgun. This is not because I'm
Yeah.
assuming
Yeah.
he doesn't have a tactical shotgun like I do.
Mm-hmm.
The reason
No, your shotgun is badass.
No, the
I
reason
love that shit.
I say that for an exact reason. So my tactical shotgun,
Yeah.
it automatically rechambers a shell.
Okay.
So therefore, it's shitting out a shell. Pump shotgun, in order for that shell casing to be out, it has to be pumped again.
Oh.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
That's a good
when
point.
you shoot a shotgun, the shell casing stays in there until you rechamber a new round. So
a good point.
when you pump it, then the spent shell casing pops out.
Okay.
So
Well, for the next
it's not like he
episode-
shoots himself in the head and he's like,
For the next episode, I'm gonna get the exact shotgun model.
Yeah,
we got-
so we'll know it. You know what I
we
mean?
got to get an
Yeah.
image. We'll put it up on our
Yeah.
website too, so you guys can see.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder if it was a pump action.
Yeah.
We're gonna get
we also
into
have
the
the suicide note.
looks
We
like
have the
fucking
whole
Shanks.
thing.
It's like, and it's
Yeah.
No, there's a whole lot of details that we're gonna get into next episode. That's
Yeah.
gonna get nice and
and
juicy.
we are the best detectives on earth.
We're the detectives.
The best detectives.
Okay, guys. Well, tune in next time. Definitely want to be part of part 2.
Yeah, seriously.
You know what I mean?
And once again, guys, always keep writing us. You know,
Yeah.
this was Holly's request. We actually get a lot more. We'll do more shout outs.
Oh, yeah.
Every episode, we're going to start doing more shout outs. All the people that
Yeah.
write to us because you guys are great.
If
And,
you haven't left us a review, make sure to go to Spotify
Yeah.
or podcast wherever you listen
Yeah.
you listen to us, and leave us a review.
5 stars only.
Only if it's 5 stars. If it's not,
If it's not, just keep it to yourself.
yeah, just keep it to yourself.
I mean,
Yeah,
honestly,
just fucking nobody wants to hear
maybe
about
send us a
it.
DM.
You know, I'm gonna get
know?
mad for a second. I mean, how can it be 1 star?
I don't think
Like,
anything's one star.
yeah, like
We're at least
1 star. Come on, dude.
at least we're
Give me a
trying.
break.
1 star is for like not even trying.
Yeah, maybe if our audio didn't work.
True. Then it just like cuts out for 30 minutes.
Yeah, or it's like static. Give me a break.
I said,
1 star.
If you're gonna do 1 star, I'd much rather I'll give you like DM us. I'll give you my cell phone so you can cuss me out in person.
Yeah, there you
Just
go.
don't leave the 1 star.
Yeah.
We do love your emails and your DMs, so keep sending that in.
That's right.
Make sure to visit our website, theconspiracypodcast.com.
Catch you guys later.
99.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the show. If you want to reach out to us, please email us at info@theconspiracypodcast.com. You can check us out on Instagram at A Conspiracy Podcast. Also, don't forget to subscribe. You can catch a new podcast almost every week. Just hit the little subscribe button at the top. It's a plus sign. We love show ideas, corrections, hate mail. Thanks a bunch.